Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Cal.
And I'm Duke.
Today we're going to be discussing a racing game, a mobile racing game that has now been ported over to console, CarX Street. I hate this name. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I think this is probably one of the worst names you could possibly give a racing game because it feels generic and cheap. And honestly, if I would have never...
It's corny.
Yeah, it is. And I never would have bought this game or even been interested in this game if I had just gone off with the name by itself. They need a rebranding immediately. It does not roll off the tongue. But yeah, so we have a game that's been ported over to console, started off as mobile, made by CarX Technologies, developed and published by them. This game was initially released last year in August and has now been released for console June 18th, so last week, I believe. And it's not for all consoles. Also, it's for just for Xbox for right now. It'll be coming to PlayStation later on in the summer. Nice little price point of $20, which is not bad. But right now it's on sale for $9 on Steam, which honestly I love those types of games. Can't even argue with that. That's an easy buy. Obviously, it's a small indie team that's making it. From what I can see on their LinkedIn, they only have like 80 employees. That's for the entire company. I'm not sure how many developers they actually have, but like I said, incredibly small team. Now, getting into the game itself, I'm kind of irritated by, not at the game itself, but I'm irritated at the AAA companies that are being outdone by a mobile game. You and me both grew up on Need for Speed. I mean, everybody knows Need for Speed. Even people that even people that 100%. Don't even play games like that know Need for Speed. And Need for Speed had some bangers back in the day, like Underground. Everybody loves Underground. We've been begging.
Yeah.
We've been begging for an Underground for years. Now, Here we are, present day. I mean, we've been getting mediocre Need for Speed games. Even in the Need for Speed Heat, I think that was, I can't remember which one, where they kind of just dropped support altogether. They gave us like two. Was that the last one? I don't think that was the last one. Can you bring up the Need for Speed, like all the Need for Speeds that have been done, like the latest one? I can't remember what the name was.
And while we're checking for stats, I just caveat off of what Cal said. I haven't been into a driving game recently. We'll talk about F1 25 here in a few days, but I can say this game, CarX Street, gives me the Underground and Absolutely. Underground 2 vibes.
Absolutely.
I was a huge Need for Speed Hot Pursuit guy. I played that for years, even when they came out with newer games. Hot Pursuit 2, like I was a huge fan of those games just because of the what you were doing in the games, and you had certain points you had to meet to unlock certain cars. You had to finish in a certain place to unlock certain cars. So you had to work yourself up. When Absolutely. Underground came out, they made a lot of the stuff. It blew up for one, and then they made everything customizable. So like that's what CarX Street gives me. It gives me those vibes. Like you have your times where you're I haven't made it past the first race, but from what I've seen and the reviews that are posted on the video of first plays and all that kind of stuff, I really see how people get drawn in, and it going from a mobile game to console. I feel like as soon as they make it to where not only Xbox or PC is able to play it, but PlayStation as well, I feel like you'll get that fan base built, and then you'll be able to really do something with this game. And I feel like CarX Technologies really did a good job with
This is
with getting that out there to
This is
the fans.
a great foundation for an indie studio. This has everything that you would need. Like, I obviously, when you know, making this, they don't really have the funds to market this game as it like EA would, because considering that's $1 billion company.
But I'm glad they didn't.
Yes, welcome, Ghost.
Yeah.
Sir.
But anyway, I'm glad that this. I'm hoping once this comes to console, this gets a little bit more eyes on it. Maybe they can get some more funding. Once they get a lot more attention on it, they can get some more funding, so we can get at least a AA or a AAA project out of them in a few years. Maybe they can change the name, make it a little bit more appealing, a little bit more sexy, something, because CarX Street is not it. Also, I did not know
not the name like that.
Right, yeah, the name itself is no. But I also just let you know the studio is based in Russia, so that might be
Oof.
that could be a reason as to the name. But
well,
yeah.
I'll give whoever created their props, because I mean, as far as you know, we've mentioned in previous videos we've done that graphics are a big thing, and it, you know, it does a lot for me as far as graphics. I feel
crisp.
like everything it is super crisp, like even all the way down to like I spent like 10 minutes doing donuts in a Connex yard. Like I'm, you know, and the smoke's flying, you see the tire streaks on the ground. Like it has done really well for me. I'll continue to play it for sure.
You can tell there isn't everything isn't there. I can tell, like, my wheels are clipping through the pavement a little bit. Like, even like I race a lot of the times in dashboard view, so even like the wrist of the dryer bends awkwardly. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get that racing experience, and this game has everything that I would need for a street racer to keep my attention at least for 50 to 100 hours, depending, you know, we play online or something like that. But Ghost, I'm gonna let you come in and tell us, because you are the car enthusiast. You play just about everything. Well, both of you are. You guys play a lot more than me, especially when it comes to simulation and stuff like that. I'll dip my toe in, but I don't really go that deep into them. So what about this game is keeping you interested? Because I believe you are level 29 now, 25, somewhere around there.
30.
God.
Yeah.
Bro's been going crazy.
Well, here's the thing. For what the game is, it's fantastic. And even for $9, for $15, I will buy this over Need for Speed. And yes. I'm glad it's not a AAA game. I'm sorry, Need for Speed Heat was trash. And
also,
whatever
Unbound,
this last one was too, Unbound was trash too.
But like I was trying to like to tell them, like, we've been having mediocre Need for Speeds for so long, and it's kind of like the Ghost Recon problem, where they get all the way up to the threshold, but they don't want to cross into like anything deeper. They just give you the bare bones.
Careful.
Okay.
Well, but here's the thing. And the problem that I see with something like Need for Speed, because I don't want to like drag this all the way out, because I could talk about this for a while, but every time they release a new Need for Speed, it's the same damn cars. And then they go for support, and they're like, okay, here's a $5 McLaren you could buy. Here's this you could buy. And then they just stop. They stop support. So it's just aggravating.
I don't really like that aspect of it. Yeah, I don't like that. Like I like when there was Hot Pursuit, where you had to finish or complete an objective to be able to get a car or unlock a a certain map. I like that part of it. I haven't played Need for Speed Unbound or Heat. I watched a few videos on it, over the past day, and I don't really feel like they stopped really putting a whole lot of work into it when they made Need for Speed Underground and Underground 2, because I feel like that was Underground 2 was peak. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could really customize your vehicles and make them look
Everybody's
like
begging for that.
you wanted them to look and perform. Yeah, perform like you wanted them to perform, depending on your driving style. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I really feel like CarX, it gives you that the cosmetic part of it. I haven't really figured out the whole driving style and what I like to do on the game because I haven't been playing it that long. But I can definitely tell you as far as like performance, it does give me that Underground to Underground, Need for Speed Underground vibe.
Right, because the music is
but
fantastic.
I hope they stick with it. I hope they. Oh yeah. I noticed that too. I mean, I'm sitting here, bobbing my head like, yeah, I'm drifting to the streets. You know what I mean? So I mean, I definitely feel it. I definitely feel it on this game.
Yeah, you would think that a AAA studio, like, because Criterion usually are the ones that, because they're all like divisions, like all those studios usually work together. Right now, all those studios collectively are working on Battlefield right now, so we're probably not going to get a Need for Speed this year, or definitely not next year. I highly doubt we get one in the next 2 or 3 years. But you would think with the amount of funding that gets dumped, we would get so much extensive customization in these games. I don't understand why they just don't go all out with these games.
They like half-ass. They half-ass everything.
Yes, it's just enough to get you to spend that $80 or $70, and then that's it. And then, well, I think Heat was the one before Unbound where they just completely dropped support for it. They gave you 2 DLC cars and called it quits. And that was it. And I couldn't even remember why they stopped support of that game. But yeah, this game has everything you need. It goes. I know we had talked earlier. I think cars feel like a boat almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like the driving is. I can't drive. I only drive in dashboard because I feel like, the classic behind, looking at your car. I don't get that sensation of speed in this game.
Right.
So I drive in dashboard, which is, and in manual. I think that's the best experience I've gotten, and I have not switched from that. But it's also crazy because I remember talking to you about how I don't think I would ever use dashboard view in Need for Speed, but I'm kind of enjoying this. If Need for Speed makes another game and have dashboard view, I'm all in for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good points in the game. I mean, the car selection is fantastic. I mean, you also got to think there's not. Huh? Yeah, it's a really good amount of just choice. Like, I don't look at it and like, I know I told you earlier, there's 4 cars that I am 100% that those are going to be my cars I'm going to drive. But like, just scrolling through, it was like, I'll build that too.
Right.
I may not drive it a lot, but like, I'll stick it in the garage and just pull it out to go for a cruise like I'm in GTA.
Right.
But I don't know, there's where it lacks in some of the customization for like body kits and things like that. It makes up for it in choice of cars. Exactly. Because you can get into it. If you're an American muscle guy, they have the Hellcat, they have the Trackhawk, they have the old school Mustang, they have the old school Trans Am. But if you want to go European, they have the new M3, the M4 Comp, they have the old 5, they have the old N5, they have AMG Mercedes, they have a G-Wagon, they have the M5 SUV. You want to go more Japanese, they have the old, new, and they have the older, the middle, and the newer Skylines, the older, newer RX-7s. They have a fucking NSX in here, which I'm sorry, triple bricked up. That will get bought. I haven't seen an NSX in a game in forever. 100% gonna buy that. But it's just, for where they go, okay, you only have 2 or 3 body kits. Fine. I have 80 cars I can scroll through and just I can scratch whatever itch I want to get, and I'm down for that.
Right. The only, I feel like everybody would agree that the main thing now, they have all of the bells and whistles for a great racing game. It's not all the way there, but most of the things they need to fix are like vehicle sounds. vehicle sounds, they're okay. One thing Need for Speed Heat and Unbound does well is sound for these vehicles. When that Mustang is idling, them pipes are talking to you.
Oh no, it's chopping.
Yes,
It's cammed out.
yeah,
It's cammed out.
absolutely.
Now, and I'll speak to that too, Cal. For anybody who's played Forza or Gran Turismo, they really with those two games in specifics, like they did a really good job with the sounds of the vehicles. And
Right.
and that you spoke about the vehicle sounds in this game, and I kind of thinking about it now, I see what you're saying. Like if they were able to dial it in and give you more of a like a live testimony to how the cars actually sound in real life with an exhaust. If an old school muscle car is cammed out, or you got turbos winding up in the Demon and
because that's half the fun of driving is hearing.
Oh, 100%. Like is my ears ringing of that bitch to supercharger going. Yeah, I want her to be pitching all the way down the road.
Right.
Like I want to hear that, and
I
feel
also
like
want to hear. Sorry, I also want to hear somebody's coming up behind you, the whine of that car coming up, because that's part of the experience, and like hearing them gears shift, and like that's what they have to work on. I'm sorry, like everything else is great. That's the main thing they need to
starting out though.
When you look at this, was also being played on your cell phone,
right?
Like a while ago.
Yeah,
but also not to play devil's advocate here, but I don't think either of you played their drift game. And that's a very different game in general than what this is. And it is not saying anything negative, but if you can just go download that game, or I will stream it for you to see where that game is then to what this is, and the quantum leap that this is forward. I'm being honest with you that I'm okay that I can't hear somebody driving up behind me like I can in Need for Speed, because if this is what they can do when they put their mind to it, I will be brutally honest with you. Need for Speed is in trouble.
Right.
Need for Speed, the crew, all of that is and they need to truly understand that this is a street racing game.
Right.
Easy.
Also, speaking of the crew, I'm glad you brought that up. I also feel like the race lengths and the amount of money you get per race is dead on.
It's trash.
I'm sorry, I meant to say for CarX it's dead on. The crew is absolutely terrible.
Amazing.
The crew, me and Ghost, back when we were playing that game, for some reason we didn't have nothing else to do. The crew 2 had one of the worst economies I have ever